Processes exist to accomplish work and tasks. Inputs are transformed into outputs. Processes can be connected, interdependent, and combined to form more complex processes. When framing work in terms of a process, we recognize that we are impacted by the work of others, and likewise, we impact the work of others. Even a small improvement can make a substantial difference. All of these efforts revolve around communication and teamwork. Deming suggested a more elaborate definition of a process beginning with a consumer through design. Design would be the catalyst for suppliers, materials, and equipment used in making the product or service, and the output would move directly back to the consumer. This model is of particular interest given its cyclic nature. Specifically, when we attempt to define a process, there are a handful of questions we must ask ourselves about the inputs, the transformation, the outputs, how we measure the process, failures, decisions, and the identities of our customers and suppliers. Process management improves our understanding and potential to control. It also facilitates planning and organization. You must first walk the process and talk to associates to find out what really goes on day to day. Do this even if you are studying a work area you think you know. Don't get so wrapped up in creating the perfect flowchart that can impede value-added work on a project. Only go to a level of detail that is helpful for the project. If boundaries are not clear in the project charter, talk to your champion or sponsors. No one person will have all the process knowledge. You need to create the process map. If your map sits on a shelf or is stuck on a person's computer, it is not doing much good. Make them living documents and make them visible. A process map is a graphic display of steps, events, and operations that constitute a process. As you are constructing the process map, you are attempting to uncover the complexities associated with the process. There are many different methods about how to achieve this end result. It is highly recommended that, as you build the process map, you ask questions about the process such as, what happens if something goes wrong at this step? What happens if not all the material or manpower are available? What does the process depend on? When process mapping, identify roles, not names. Flow from top to bottom and left to right. Use swim lanes to assist in organizing multiple functions. Make sure connectors are connected and not crossed. We can use tools such as Visio or PowerPoint to create process maps. We can also use the wall or flip chart paper or whiteboards to map out the process with people involved in the process. Never be afraid to refine and validate your process. Focus on the flow and not on the detail within each step. A personal walkthrough of the process can be very beneficial. Benchmarking is a very valuable step in project selection. It allows producers to identify, assess, and compare best practices. Remember that some of the best innovations in business occur when we think outside the box. Look for ways to enhance your business model by looking at industries outside your competitive scope. If your competitors are worthy, they will always be watching you. Your willingness to embrace revolutionary ways of doing things makes it more difficult for them to follow and catch up. Take Ford as an example. There are several types of benchmarking. Process benchmarking focuses on specific work processes. Performance benchmarking examines competitive position. Project benchmarking looks into new techniques for planning and controlling projects. Strategic benchmarking appraises how companies compete. Benchmarking puts us into greater touch with our own processes. It helps us establish a means to compare performance. It opens up new frontiers in innovation. It also builds relationships and lays the foundations for continuous improvement. Benchmarking can be misleading, especially when we are trying to compare on a level playing field. It can be difficult to get information, and it is costly as well as time-consuming.